A warm welcome again to Industrial Marketing Live. My name is Peyton Warren, and I am a senior strategist at the industrial marketing agency Gorilla 76, and I am one of your IML hosts. Before we jump into our topic today, I want to kick things off again with a quick FYI and an invitation. Industrial Marketing Summit. You guys have heard about it at this point. If you've been anywhere near Gorilla 76 or this show, it's happening in 12 days. And if you haven't heard about it yet, well, we are partnering with two amazing companies it's True Marketing and Cadina's Part Solutions to host an in-person event in Austin, Texas called the Industrial Marketing Summit. It's happening January 31st through February 2nd. And we would just love to see you there. There are 10 sessions and 2 in-depth workshops that are going to be happening. It's going to be a great opportunity to learn from practitioners, much like what we do here on IML. Some of the folks we have coming to speak, we've got MJ Smith, Chris Lukey, John Joyce, Mary Keogh, and more. So just think Industrial Marketing Live on steroids with some parties sprinkled in. And the time to register is now. So if you have not yet registered and want to, definitely check out industrialmarketingsummit.com to make it happen. And that's all I've got to say about that. But if you have questions, let us know. So back to our scheduled programming today, we're talking about industrial websites. Everybody, I would hope at this point, if you are working in marketing and you have made it to 2024, that your company does have a website. And I think the way that most industrial companies, manufacturing companies are thinking about their website has started to change over really, the last 5 years. I think it's even people are getting more and more willing to think about their website as a tool instead of just a digital brochure. And we wanted to bring on somebody who has been really pushing the envelope with their website to the show today. So we have Beth Bauer from Fullerton Tool. She's the head of marketing over there. And she's been responsible for managing the company's website for the last 8 years. And she's taken it through a lot of change. And I just think that her wisdom from being in-house and managing that is going to be really valuable to our conversation today. It's a challenge that I'm sure many of you are trying to balance among all of your responsibilities in the marketing role. So we're just super excited to jump in. But before I do that, Beth, hi.
Hello. I'm so
Hey.
excited to be back and to be talking about one of my absolute favorite topics, and that's industrial websites.
Yay. Yeah, no, we're really excited. I think I know you work really closely with Aaron on several projects, and we were looking at something on the Fullerton Tool website the other day, and I don't know, I ended up on the 404 page. I think I actually tried to find your 404 page because I had heard a rumor that there was like some jokes on the page, and I read it and I was laughing to myself in my home office, and I just thought, this is so cool. Like the level of detail that you've gone into on your website is just really, really awesome. And so we were like, we need to talk more to Beth. Like, what is she doing over there? That she's got like the energy to like put into a 404 page and make it something
Mhm.
like meaningful for her
Yeah,
team.
it's not
So
always ideal that someone finds a 404 page because that means something is broken, but obviously, like, it happens, right? So we want for sure our users, if they're gonna not get where they want to be, at least have something to read that maybe gives them a little, giggle or laugh for the day and leaves them with a happy thought.
for sure, for sure. Yeah. And I know that you and Aaron have talked a lot too, so I'll let Aaron jump in here too. But I think it would be great to just give folks a little bit of context. Like 8 years is a long time
Mhm.
to really be anywhere if you're looking at my resume. But I think that I just like to hear, like, where did you start whenever you got to Fullerton Tool 8 years ago? Like, what was your role? And how did the website come to be something that you became part of?
Yeah, for sure. So I joined Fullerton about 8 years ago. And when I first joined Fullerton, actually the website wasn't even under like marketing's realm. It was something that our IT team had managed and built. And it was very utilitarian, right? Like it had a lot of great available resources for our distributors. So here at Fullerton, we sell through distribution, but other manufacturers are the people who are actually utilizing our products to make their products, whether it's like consumer goods, parts that you're going to find in your computers, like on your desk, your cars, that kind of stuff. So when I joined, it was very much like, here's some nice little resources to help our distributors like find out some facts and stuff, like check stock and availability and that kind of stuff on our website. But finally, like once I got my hands on the website and convinced everyone that it should be a marketing function as well, we took those like core tools and really it's been a never ending expansion essentially. Like it's constantly like we're reworking it to be something where it's better and more inclusive and just user friendly. And we've also like taken a different approach on the website so that it's a great marketing resource for anyone. So whether they're a first time visitor hitting the site and know nothing about Fullerton or our products, it gives them a good idea of who we are, what we do, what we offer, and how we're going to support them, as well as the way we structure like all of our really like expansive resources is always first, how can we use this internally? So we're streamlining our processes with our customer interfacing team, so customer service, quoting, engineering, so that they can provide consistent responses to our customers. So whether like no matter who they contact, they're going to get the same pricing no matter like who they're talking to within a team. But then also, how is that going to work for a distributor so they don't have to even manually contact us? And then also, how can it work and be applicable for an end user as well? So we're trying to always factor in those three different type of users for anything that we create on the site. Yeah, and one thing too, I just saw a question from Jared. We have one thing that's unique with us too is we do have an in-house developer. So that changes everything. Like we're not outsourcing everything. Pretty much anything's a possibility when we have like in-house development.
And Beth, I think your developer's on the call today. I think I see Tim here. So
I mean, he's gonna be upset if you call him out.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and I think our other developer too, we just actually hired a new developer a few months ago too, just because our website has been expanding it so much. And when we look at our like 5-year EOS goals, most of it is website related. Like unilaterally, like our company believes like our website is our number one sales tool. And so with that, the numbers are showing that our customers are utilizing it. And so that has helped us add additional developer to our team as well.
So folks have a couple of questions here too that have come up in the chat, and I just want to like verbalize them so that the folks listening afterwards can see. Folks are wondering what CMS you guys use.
So it's fully customized website. So we're not using CMS.
Oh, so it's like all hard coded?
All hard coded.
Tim. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. So you must work really well with your developer then.
Oh yeah, we're besties. Right, Tim?
Oh yeah, we're definitely besties. Right or die.
Wow. Okay. And then another question was if you sell, are most of your sales online or do you sell through distributors?
So we sell through distribution exclusively. So we sell online as well. So essentially, we're not selling to anyone different online. We're just selling through our authorized distribution, but they can, order directly through us online, or they can continue to send their purchase orders on to like our customer service team. I think last year 13% of our sales came from like online orders though. So definitely it's shifting where more and more are utilizing our website, which is exactly what you want as well, because there's less risk for user entry errors, and it's just less people that we need on our teams because they're manually doing it themselves. And then it just plugs in directly to our ERP software. So we don't really have to do much.
So everyone else was, I think, just as surprised as I sounded whenever you said that you had didn't have a CMS. So could you tell us a little bit more? I don't want to get too in the weeds if this is not something you're prepared to talk about, but like why you're not using a CMS and the decision there?
You
Oh,
want
it's
me to take
actually
that one,
something.
Beth?
Well, I feel comfortable too. Like
Okay.
I'll start off, and if I forgot something, you can jump in, Tim. But that is something that we actually had discussed. Oh man, maybe 5, 6 years ago. Like we talked about doing the front end of the website using like a CMS, like WordPress or something, and then like the back end to actually utilize like our resources would be the custom coded. But we have such a complex system, I would say, with like the resources that we have with our tool search and our fast quotes, that we didn't want to add like any extra like clicks or anything. Like we really, user experience was like our number one goal, having the best user experience. And so to do that, we believe that we needed to have the full custom code throughout the entire site. Is that right, Tim?
Yeah, and to give a little bit more context too, like if you're just looking to do a marketing-based website, absolutely just use a CMS. This is way overblown and way over technical. If you're just looking for something to be basically a digital flyer to a customer at this point. But what we were finding is it's much like the philosophy that Gorilla 76 took to being an industrial only marketing agency. That when I started looking at this stuff years back, I said to myself, these e-commerce solutions, these like home or these out of the box e-commerce solutions are not going to give us the flexibility and the integration that we need with, I mean, I see some people saying like, ERPs, how do we integrate with to integrate with an ERP system in the way that we wanted to do it. And so again, to give context, is the website quotes half of the tools currently that we quote for Fullerton online. So we built an online system that actually will quote all of our tooling online, and we dog food it internally. So new onboarding quoters use that kind of stuff. It syncs directly with their ERP system. It can quote all that stuff, and that can go right to a sales order. Standard out of the box e-commerce systems, you're either going to have to do some heavy customization, which is pretty brittle, or you're going to home grow it. And there's, as some people are bringing up, hope Tim never leaves. That is part of like, you've got to build a long-standing team, because obviously when you start to go down this road, there's pros and cons to it. But
And maybe this is a good time to talk a little bit more about like the pros of a CMS too, because here at Gorilla, a lot of the websites we build are run on WordPress. And like Tim said, if you don't have that complex quoting ecosystem, he would recommend a CMS. So Peyton, Brendan, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about like some of the advantages of using, like why we would recommend WordPress specifically, or some of the advantages there.
I mean, the first thing is, right, like you don't need to have ongoing development support really. Like actually, maintaining the website. Obviously, like there's like updates and stuff that a developer can go and do, but it's not like, it sounds like Tim and Beth work very closely together. And I think you can have some more standoff if you're built on a CMS. Like you can kind of do a lot more stuff by yourself without having a ton of like coding training within a CMS, and like building out pages. And I'm sure like you guys have templates built out where Beth can go and put some pages up. But CMS is just kind of like you can get your website up a lot faster. Work with it internally without having a whole lot of development help outside of it. And like they look like CMS websites look nice. And I think it's really easy to have a hard coded website. The Fullerton site, your guys' site looks amazing, but I think there's probably a lot of other fully coded, hard coded websites that aren't to this level of aesthetic, that don't really show off the brand very well. Whereas like I think a CMS, you can get into a good design a lot faster because there's a lot of nice looking templates and stuff that you can use.
Right.
So yeah, it's just a lot more simple to use, I would say.
Yeah, I think I would echo about appearance, because you can set up in a CMS, you can work with a developer, a designer, which is what I think many people who don't have a developer in-house end up doing. They work with another like design firm to decide, what do we want our template to look like? What sections of the website do I want to be able to edit? How are these going to react if it's on a full-size screen or a mobile device or a tablet? And all of that is built in to like the hard code that with a CMS, you as a marketer can't break necessarily, or you can't break as easy. And so then you can go in and kind of manipulate those like sections or like those fields. And yeah, but as far as like you want custom everything, you want to be able to change everything all the time, having access to a developer is really great for that sort of thing. Yeah, but Salim, I see your hand is up and I'm curious. I'm very curious. What do you have to share with us, Salim?
So I wasn't I wasn't gonna talk, but when I saw Beth saying that you utilize HubSpot for the blog, now I'm wondering, has there been any discussion about hosting the tool side of the website on the main domain and hosting the marketing piece on a subdomain using HubSpot CMS or any other CMS? But since you mentioned HubSpot is already there.
Yeah, I don't think we really have any interest in that at this point in time, just because we're trying to make our website even more integrated so that they can easily like look at a specific product type, like a specific like series of one of our tools, and then from there check out the available offering and then build out and customize and off like a tool from there as well. So we're really trying to make everything just one cohesive piece where you can essentially add to cart from possible points of contact with that in the website.
Yeah, I think the blog standpoint on like HubSpot is if you're thinking about wanting a more like application-based website, right? You want to tie it more into your ERP system. You can do things, and that's kind of how we started out, is for Beth to really quickly be able to unload landing pages for marketing campaigns. We were using HubSpot for that because she could very quickly template out the page, kick it out, and stick it to a social post. Then at the same time, when we were developing fullertontool.com, if it was a page that really fit the bill and we found out like through social marketing and all that it was a big win, we would then talk about integrating that. And part of the problem with the CMS, in the sense of like we have tools, for example, that may guide the user as to what specific series in our product offering that they want to use. We can't take that little snippet of our application on Fullerton and easily stick it inside a CMS all the time because we've got some custom code. So we look that if the HubSpot page is making sense, then our workflow is basically Beth mocks everything up in XD. And between us two developers, our workflow, we've got it down so fast that if she designs that, typically, like I can kick out a very static page in about an hour to an hour and a half. And then we can really quickly tie in all these very technical bits of the website into that page. And not only is it now a marketing page, but it now gets them directly into our search, quoting, and all those ERP-based sales funnels. And it really helps because I know a lot of the conversations on IMLs have been like, man, how do we get sales involved?
Yes.
Yeah. Sales doesn't want to change anything of their process. And so we automate so much of that sales process. And that's, again, the pros and cons, right? To bring them in and to really sell, why is digital marketing the new frontier to them? You've got to find ways that you're removing resistance of getting them involved. And so the fact that we can automate so much of that process online really starts to help glue that together. But it is a journey. I mean, as Beth said, we've been at this for a while, but
yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
I think that's like the one piece that is just really cool with Fullerton is that one, y'all are investing more. You just hired a second developer in-house. most manufacturing companies probably don't even have like a web developer on their team. Or if they do, it's just somebody who's, you know,
It's an additional hat for a marketer.
additional. Yeah, it's a me, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful that you have a WordPress.
Was that a
CMS.
Mario joke?
Yeah.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah, nice.
So the one thing, like from a strategic perspective, that I love about your guys' website is I'm always looking for ways like, how can I make my company different, right? How can I be different from my competition? And I don't know what, you know, the what do you guys sell, drill bits? I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
round,
I, like,
solid
essentially,
round cutting
right,
tools.
yeah.
Yep.
so there's always so many weird terms that people get, like, you know, pipe or tube or whatever. But anyways,
It's tube,
like,
damn it. Yeah.
the ability for you to like I think, you know, it looks like the ability to like do the e-commerce and do the quoting on the site without having a salesperson. It's probably a huge differentiator for you, that your and I would love to hear, like, how does your distribution felt about what your site is now and how they're working with it? Like, is it, do they see it as a big differentiator why they go to Fullerton? Is there like, and I would be interested to see, like, how did you bring your customers into the design process to get their feedback on things?
Oh yeah, that's one thing with our website. Like, we don't even have to ask for feedback from our distribution. They gladly are sending us feedback all the time. Like, they love our site. They tell us often that they use Fullerton tools just because we make it so easy for them to check stock, order, do quotes, that kind of stuff. And we definitely include them in our process as well, especially when we're launching something new. Like, we usually start off by, we'll pick a handful of distributors to talk to them to figure out like what type of issues are they having, like pain points, that kind of stuff, and really figure out how can we develop a process that's going to like make their life easier. And then before we launch anything major, at least, like, we usually go through beta testing with a couple of those key distribution partners to see firsthand, like, is this really working for you? Like, what type of changes should we be making so that it's more effective and easier for you to use?
Love that.
And we're constantly getting emails too, Tim, right? Like, with like, hey, when you get a chance, can you add this feature to your website? So,
and that was a big one in terms of
to
like, in terms of like user lock-in and just when they start using that site and then they actually email us and they're like, man, it would be really cool when I'm viewing this tool if I could see the promise date if it's out of stock. That way I know this. Or it would be nice if I could see my open quotes and I want it specifically in this way. Or I want my open, can you export my open quotes that way, or my open orders rather, that way I can go through with the team and XYZ. We can do all of that. And so when you respond with, yeah, absolutely, and then a week or two later you launch that feature, they don't go anywhere. I mean, they're basically like, oh my gosh, nobody else is doing this. But it's a big differentiator. We have people that go to other websites now and they're just like, yeah, it is so painful to use everybody else that, hey, I was a geek growing up, man. I couldn't play sports. And so like, I knew the only way that I was going to win at everything or at anything was to, to build an awesome website. And so that to me, when they come back and say, there was a pain point using somebody else's website and I can't believe, you guys do this. That's really where it's at. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think like you guys have just constantly been getting that feedback from your customers that they appreciate the work that you're putting in. But then also, Beth, you said that this year alone, like, you guys have seen some pretty huge gains, like revenue wise, from the e-commerce.
Yeah, so we launched online ordering, so distributors could start ordering online with us of just our standard part. So here at Fullerton, we like 50% of our products are standard off-the-shelf items, and the other 50% are like customizable or fully custom products. So customers can order standard products on our website. So in 2022, like, we had about $1 million in sales. And then last year in 2023, we hit $2.8 million in sales. So huge jump from the previous year. And it's just been great. And we're really hoping to continue to keep that momentum going, especially as we have plans to bring more options to the website so that they can start ordering some of those altered and customized 24-hour like reamers and saws as well.
And you can attribute that to the website itself too, like to like your
Yep.
e-commerce.
Yep, exactly. And that's why, I mean, honestly, I think one of the biggest tips is figure out how you can, whether like monetize or what like conversion numbers really mean to your like C-suite owners, whatever, whoever is the people who are making the decisions. Because for us, I feel like the only numbers that really seem to matter to our like executive team is really sales dollars. And once they started to be able to see like, oh, wow, this is really working. Like we're having all these sales coming in on the site. That's given us a lot more momentum of like, okay, if you want to keep this going, we have these plans and ideas of what we can do to get us, you know, more money coming in from the site. But we're going to need a bigger team, not only to support and maintain the site, but to continue to work on these other larger projects as well.
That's really impressive. Mary asked a question in the chat, and Mary, feel free to ask it yourself if you'd like. But she's asking about the and add some color here, but asking about the process of taking the hands-on human work out of quoting, what that was like for you guys, how you like peeled back the layers. And because now not only do you have like a quoting tool on your website, I guess I'll stop trying to tell your story. I would like for to hear from y'all. Like, what was that process like?
Yeah, so I mean, we could do a whole IML on this, and probably could do a whole podcast on this. But and it's a good one because it's basically the question is like, how do you start to unpack your manufacturing processes and then bring that online, right? And so that's what's important, I think, is to have what you guys do as marketing agencies is great from the customer kind of into the system. And then I think that's really where if you can find a developer or almost like a technical liaison that then can bridge between getting it into the system and then to the manufacturing process, that's where we started. And that's really where I came in. And so it goes down a rabbit hole, but yeah, it was really first understanding for us because we build tooling. What does it actually take when we bring in a carbide blank, right? And I needed to understand how many carbide blanks did we have? What were those costs involved and everything? And so that was the first part of the process. And then it's like, okay, when we put a radius, basically we take and we round off those edges of that tool. What does that cost involve? And so we started to model all this. I basically sat down with quoting and sat down with engineering and said, tell me how you manually quote this thing today. And sometimes, you can map that across many different of your products. Other times, like our series can be very, very different. So there was different modeling done for every one of those series potentially. But it's getting in front of those teams and saying, when we did online ordering, it was sitting down with the customer service team and saying, give me all of your exceptions. If this customer calls in, what happens? Does that happen with every customer? And the more exceptions you have, the more programming and modeling and stuff like that you're going to have to do. But the bottom line now is with all that, and again, we could go much deeper, and if you want to go deeper, we can. But that's kind of like the surface level of what you've got to do. But now, when a new employee can start in quoting today, and as long as they know our series numbers, they can start quoting now. And so it's a lot of work up front, but it pays dividends because what are we running into in manufacturing and across the US is shortages. You can't how do you train people? How do you bring people in? And so now we've taken the complexity out of somebody that was a very specialized quoter, and now anyone can do those base tests. So now the quoters are just focused on the very, very, very hard stuff. And they're not getting bogged down with hey, I just want to put a quick radius on this tool. What's it going to cost me? They can do it themselves if they want to.
Yeah. So. I mean, I just think about the level of like trust and credibility you've built with like the website when you have a quoting tool that not only your sales team uses, but your distributors use, and they get the same number, or like it's like an accurate number.
Yeah.
That's really huge.
We had that too, because you could, hate to say, you could talk to one quoter and get a different price and talk to another quoter and get a completely different price in the same tool because maybe they went about that quoting process a little bit different. So uniformity and consistency is another one where this really helps out. But I mean, Clint is bringing up, you know, we fought that a lot. Clint's saying, as a salesperson, I feel like you're trying to replace me. We fought that because there's a lot of customer service and quotas where it's just like I'm out of a job, and it's like no. All I at this point, all I want to do is take away the crap. I want to take away the crap that you're looking at it and going, oh my gosh, like here's another one of these like little ones that, yes, it takes me 5 minutes or 10 minutes to quote, but I've got 10 of these to do. And then I've got this really complex one that I want to get to. I want to get rid of all the boring stuff. And because I can't take away all of the true technical knowledge and the years of experience, and I really can't. I'm not blowing smoke. You can't take that away. I can't put that in a model and do that. And so we want you guys out there selling the difficult stuff, and we'll help remove all the BS. So
it's really awesome. Aaron, where should we take this conversation? I feel like there's so many ways.
It's gone so many wonderful places. I'm curious. One thing we talked about when we were prepping for this call, Beth, is like where you look for inspiration. And I guess I would pose that question to Tim too. Like, where do you get ideas for how to improve the website? Are you using special tools, looking at other websites for inspiration?
Yeah, for me, like I typically just use other websites for inspiration for the most part. I don't find much anything that really inspires me like in the industrial side of things, but usually what inspires me the most is, you know, just going to those large companies that have the best user experiences, and sort of seeing how we can replicate something similar and how it would work for us. Because I think like our main goal essentially is just how can we have like the best user experience. And then two, like we want fullertontool.com to be essentially an epicenter of all things Fullerton so that they can, you know, like place an order, they can do quotes, they can do a return, all of that without having to contact someone if they don't want to. But obviously, like if they want to contact us, they definitely can regardless, because that's what our customer service team is here for as well.
yeah, I agree a lot with that. Like Beth was saying, you know, I had one where zero shoes. I was buying basically a flat-footed shoe, and I was buying online. And I remember I made my second purchase, and just the email was tailored to, wow, you made another purchase with us. Thank you so much. And then eventually I made a third one, and they're like, a third purchase. And I'm like, they have built the automation into their emailing campaign to know how many orders I've placed, and they're tailoring these based on that. I love wow moments. You know, I live for those. That's what we want to build online. And so when it's just stuff that's out of the ordinary, that you're just like, again, the craftsmanship of the 404 page, right? You're bringing up our 404.
Even when you place an order, confetti shoots out. We had done an update and we removed the confetti. The number of emails we received about where has the confetti gone. I was like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. We'll get that confetti right back up on your place order page.
That confetti supply chain's rough, man.
It is tough. It is tough. The costs involved of bringing that back was monstrous. But we went to our president, and he said, you know, put it back there. You know, spare no expense.
Yeah, we can. Yes.
So, but Mary put in chat. I mean, I love a chance to delight. That's what it's about. And if you can get to that level in your marketing and your website, the snowball just starts to happen, because then we start to get inspiration from. We get emails all the time on, because they know we can do it. Can you add this feature? Man, this would be great. And you just really get inspiration from the snowball that starts to happen, because customers start to take ownership of the site too, which is crazy.
Oh, sorry, Brendan, go ahead.
So I just maybe a little bit back on the CMS, like the build question. Did you guys ever consider using like a Shopify or anything to help support the e-commerce side of things? You know, because that'd probably be a little easier to get going out of the box, right? So I'd love to hear both of your opinions on using that. And I was just trying to think, like, a full like hardcore website is probably not the right answer for a lot of people on this call. So especially like Tim, when do you think that there would be that jump up from like using, you know, a WordPress with Shopify attached to it versus like, let's go full bore on this thing and do a completely custom website?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, I'll put it in the context of like if you're selling brooms with different colored handles, then Shopify is for you. If your product line is generally pretty simple, where we really couldn't go down that road is it's like these tools are so complex. Some people care about you're talking about cutting width, shank width and diameters, material machined and all that kind of stuff to model that, and then ultimately then to want to do automatic quoting too, that didn't fit the bill. So that's not where you want to go. And it's certainly a good idea too of like, yeah, if you're just looking for low resistance and your product line is pretty simple, I would suggest to go down that road. Shopify. Yep.
So to me, it kind of sounds like with a complex part, you're either like kind of like going, a basic website where it's like just contact us and we'll build a quote out for you, like with a salesperson or somebody that does quoting, or we have to go this route like you guys went down and like just do a huge website. It's like kind of the two options with a more customized approach, right?
Yeah. Beth, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree too. And I mean, probably like we're also talking about like our standard offering. We have easily 10,000 parts.
Yeah.
And so everything, like we're just very much in a technical field where every little like detail matters. And so for us, it just doesn't make sense. But I feel like for a lot of people, it very much would. And that's something they can easily manage on their own versus needing like a whole team to support it.
And I think Joel just brought up a good point in the chat. He said, our products are heavily customized, but the view from sales is that we need to be involved in the conversation to help guide people. And I think that's very common in industrial too, is you have a consultative sales process and e-commerce like might not even make sense for you. Did that come up at all, Beth and Tim, when you were moving to more e-commerce solutions?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're trying to essentially create tools so that one, like our customer service team who might not know like what specific series to recommend can go to the website and when they're on the phone with someone, provide a recommendation, but then as well, they can just go to the website and utilize those tools as well. So like if a customer comes to us and says like they know what material they're machining in and they know like what type of tool path they're taking, like they can utilize our tool on the website and we're going to tell them like the best tool for their usage and then also some other options as well that would be applicable to their application. But I think there's still those interactions where you need to like talk to someone. And that's also tying back to our website is where even if the salesperson can't be there to talk to them right then and there, we do have our live chat available during our business hours, and like our engineering team is on our live chat as well. So if it's something where like want to talk to someone right now and it's something where a customer service or quoting team can't handle, they can pass it off to our engineering team and then they can come in and help with that as well. Because oftentimes like they're also receiving like, I'm not really sure what I should be running this tool at because it's very technical and like speeds and feeds and all that stuff, which we also do have a speed and feed calculator on our website to help give them some guidelines for that as well. But there's still that human element there as well.
Yeah, and I'll add a little bit to that too, because I mean Joel brings up a good point of we absolutely, like Beth was saying, we absolutely ran into that. And to add to what Beth was saying, we started to build things into the sales process online that if things got too technical, then it forwards them off to a salesperson, right? Then we have a flow that basically gets shipped off to somebody so they can take a look at it. So like in quoting, for example, quoting is currently a box that if it fits within this box, we'll auto quote it for you. If certain parameters are hit that we can't, then we absolutely get you in touch with somebody in the sales team, because again, that's where I'm saying we're not replacing. It's like, this is outside of the scope of this. Somebody more technical with a heck of a lot more expertise than we can put online needs to get in touch with you. So that's also the benefit is, we can get you to a point of automatically putting the sale into our ERP system, but now we can program in that, hey, if you've hit a certain level, we know what distributor because end users can use the site too. We know what distributor you're attached to. We know what rep that distributor is attached to. So we can get everyone in the sales chain involved. If that customer has an issue, they just click a button where basically, I'm at a roadblock, website can't help me anymore, and it kicks off and and now the sales team picks it up.
Very interesting. So, I mean, how do y'all handle just like it? Maybe we don't have time to talk about like ongoing maintenance, but I guess maybe to round out the show, what would you say are like some common pitfalls that you would caution folks of? What should folks avoid when they start going down this like path of maybe changing their website or just updating things in general?
I would think for me, one thing that I learned along the way is just really like, what's your purpose with the page? Like, what's your end goal? Like, don't have so many possible actions that they could take. Just have one clear like vision so that they take the path that you want them to take. And also, like, another thing I learned throughout our years here too is we used to have a lot of stuff hidden behind a login, and we always thought like that's the right decision. Like, these tools are amazing, and we want people, we want to be able to capture people's like, like email so we can market to them and all of that, jazz. But the reality is we're losing out on prospective people even knowing about how amazing some of these tools are. So we moved all of these great resources in front of the login. So you don't need to log in unless you can log in and you can see exactly what your discounted price would be, since we're dealing with authorized distributors and they all have their different discount rates. And just our numbers skyrocketed in the conversion rates for utilizing these tools because like there was nothing preventing them from, like actually utilizing them.
Yeah. The best point, do not redesign a website just for the sake that you think it looks like crap, because I've seen some really crappy looking websites that convert like crazy.
Air quotes, crappy looking website. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's like sometimes you just don't need to. Sometimes it's that you're not offering the correct process to the customer. It has nothing to do with the look. It's just they get there and are like, okay, what am I supposed to do? So understand what problem you're trying to solve before you go down any of these paths. And, we could, all of the people at the Fullerton team could eat humble pie. If you look all the way back in the Wayback Machine, back 10 years, we started with very, very simple systems and we started to understand, okay, customer, it would be great if they can quote online. It can be great if we could improve the sales process to allow for it to get to sales easier. We failed. Fail a lot. Get out there and fail a lot, and you will start to learn much quicker as to the processes that you need to bring in. Talk to the customers, and if you're at a point, I think as marketers, I would say as a developer, if you're at a place where you feel that you're having a problem in capacity of understanding the customer and then building the processes, then it might be time to bring in a technical developer to help in that, because I think in tandem, marketing and development, if you get two people that really understand each other, then you can really start to make magic happen, because you got one arm focusing directly on the customer and the other arm focusing directly on tailoring process. And that's probably the first place to start, because then the website starts to answer its own questions. The developer can go in and make modifications. You as a team can decide when it's best to do this CMS or that CMS. And they can start to advise as to some of those limitations, because I didn't understand some marketing limitations and Beth didn't understand some, integration into the ERP stuff. And so starting those conversations early is important too, but don't spend money just to spend money. Make sure you got the.
Yeah. And I would say too, like as marketers, like most of us are wearing multiple hats. And so I would say try some stuff out, even like on your social, see what's really converting, and then from there, like, okay, let's build some of this out into like landing pages on the actual site. I mean, that's what we did with our cost savings. So I was doing some cost savings posts, and they had monumental responses compared to any other of our other posts that we did. So with that, like we've pretty much created a whole cost saving section of the website with case studies that like our sales team can use, customers can look at, whatever.
Yep.
Just build it one step at a time, one step
Yeah.
at a time.
And it doesn't have to be perfect, right from the beginning. Just taking those baby steps and learning from them and improving along the way.
That's awesome. One little thing I'll chime in here is like, if you guys are going down the path of a website redesign or restructure, is, the structure of your navigation is probably where you're going to want to spend the most time if you are thinking about changing things. Because ultimately, and I think Beth, you brought this up during the prep call too, like you don't want to keep changing navigation. Like once you set the structure of your site, you want to build it so that you can start to pick apples off
exactly.
those trees.
Yeah, exactly. Because
anyway.
we're constantly making updates to the site, but at the core is like our structure. So no matter what changes we make, like our users still know that they can, like access, like type in a part number right on our home screen, and it will take them right to the part, and like keeping, the tried and true items that users are actually using in the same spot, so that you're not just messing up their day and being like, what the hell? Where did this go? It used to be right here.
Awesome. Man, there's so much we could talk about. Aaron, you've already kind of floated the topic of bringing Beth and Tim onto the podcast, maybe. So I think there's a lot more we could go into. Well, with that, I just want to say thank you. We run a little bit long, so thank you to Beth and Tim for joining us today and sharing more about the Fullerton Tool website and how you guys have developed it and just changed it over the years to be such an awesome tool for your customers. A few things as we wrap up here today, kind of a little my heart breaks. I'm wearing my Brendan support shirt today. This is Brendan's last IML with us this year because Brendan is going on deployment.
Yeah.
So I got my little gorilla.
Yeah. I'll be going on military leave and I'll be back next January.
And we all start crying.
Yeah. So you're all great. I love this community. And I'm very much looking forward to getting back to you all as soon as I can.
Yeah. Well, Brendan, we will definitely miss you, and we'll plan a special show for your return to just catch you up on everything that you missed.
What happened to marketing the last year? I'm gonna need that.
Crash course for Brendan. That'll be awesome. But you'll definitely be missed. I know everyone's already saying that in the chat too. I also want to say that if you want to keep the conversation going with us, and maybe, who knows, Brendan will get some internet access somewhere on another part of the world and be able to jump into the Industrial Marketing Live Slack. But if you want to join us there in Slack, you're welcome to. Just post in the chat here or send us a note on LinkedIn. You know how to get in touch with any of the gorillas, and we will get you invited to the Slack channel. And then our next Industrial Marketing Live, we are going to be talking about something that I've gotten several questions about personally in the last several weeks, which is PR and earned media. So, Aaron, do you want to tell us a little bit about our guest?
Yeah, so Eliana Novich works for a much larger B2B agency, and she focuses more into like PR, news releases, earned media, things like that. So she'll be joining to talk all about it. Another thing I think we should point out is if you're registered for IML on the Zoom invite, if you have it on your calendar, I think it's showing the next IML is February 1st, since that's technically the first Thursday of the month. However, that's during right in the middle of the Industrial Marketing Summit. So this IML, just so everyone knows, is going to be February 8th next time.
Yes, it's showing up on my calendar correctly, but if it's not showing up on yours, please send me an email, Peyton.Warren@gorilla76. Email me and I will help you fix it right now.
It's wrong on mine. So
okay. All right, February 8th with Alina. We're really excited, and we will see hopefully a lot of you in Austin between now and then. And again, just thank you to Beth and Tim, and thank you for everyone for hanging out with us today. And hope you guys have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, everybody.
You too. Thank you.